Has someone you care about begun showing subtle yet concerning changes over the past year? Many people believe that death in old age happens suddenly, but in reality, the body often sends quiet signals months, sometimes even a year, before life reaches its end. The issue is that most people overlook these signs because they seem small at first. It's only later, upon reflection, that families realize the clues were there all along. Unfortunately, by that time, it's too late to prepare, too late to make those final moments truly count. In this video, we're going to discuss 5 key signs that commonly appear a year before an elderly person passes away. Some of these might be things you've noticed but dismissed as simply part of aging. Others may seem like minor changes but are actually signs of the body's gradual decline. Recognizing these signs early allows you to provide better care, cherish meaningful moments, and, most importantly, ensure that your loved one's final stage of life is filled with comfort, dignity, and peace. Stay with us until the end, because these 5 signs will help you prepare both emotionally and practically for what's ahead. When you understand what's happening, you won't be caught off guard. You'll be able to make the most of the time you have left with your loved ones. Let's dive in. Number 1, significant weight loss. One of the earliest and most telling signs that a person may be nearing the final year of their life is unintended weight loss. At first, it might appear subtle: a belt that needs tightening, clothes that feel looser, or a once hearty appetite that begins to fade. Many families write it off as just part of aging. However, the reality is that unintentional weight loss is rarely a good sign. It often suggests that the body isn't absorbing nutrients effectively, muscle mass is decreasing, and vital systems are slowing down. While aging naturally causes some muscle loss, when this happens rapidly, it signals something more serious. The body may be struggling to digest food properly, or the person may no longer process protein effectively, resulting in muscle wasting. This loss of strength doesn't just make movement harder, it raises the risk of falls, weakens the immune system, and makes the person more susceptible to infections. Another reason for weight loss in the final year of life is changes in appetite. Many older adults simply don't feel hunger like they once did. Their sense of taste diminishes, food loses its appeal, and they may skip meals or eat smaller portions. This isn't just a preference issue, it's a physiological change. As the body begins to shut down, it no longer signals the brain to seek food as frequently, leading to less energy, strength, and a steady decline in health. Additionally, underlying medical conditions can play a role. Weight loss is a common symptom of chronic diseases such as cancer, heart failure, or kidney disease, which can progress long before more obvious signs show up. Even conditions like depression or cognitive decline can reduce appetite, leading to a vicious cycle where the body doesn't get enough fuel to sustain itself. Some families try to fix the problem by encouraging their loved ones to eat more, offering favorite foods, or supplementing meals with protein drinks. But if the weight continues to drop despite these efforts, it's important to realize that the issue is not just about diet. It's the body preparing for a deeper transition. At this point, forcing large meals may not help. Instead, focusing on comfort foods that are easy to eat and staying hydrated can have a greater impact on maintaining quality of life. If you notice significant weight loss in an elderly loved one, especially if they are eating less, feeling weaker, or struggling to stay active, it's time to take notice. This is not just about appearance. The body is sending a message, and understanding it now will help you prepare for what lies ahead with compassion, clarity, and the ability to make every moment count. Number 2, extreme fatigue and weakness. One of the most noticeable changes in the year leading up to the end of life is a profound, persistent fatigue that doesn't improve with rest. It's not just being a little tired after a long day. It's a deep exhaustion that makes even simple tasks seem impossible. Getting out of bed becomes a struggle. Walking across the room feels like an effort, and activities that once felt routine, such as cooking, dressing, or even having a conversation, start to feel exhausting. This isn't just aging, it's the body conserving its remaining energy. As organ functions slow, the body prioritizes what's most essential. The heart doesn't pump as efficiently, circulation weakens, and muscles no longer receive the same oxygen they did before. This is why many elderly individuals in their final months feel weak, unsteady, and unable to sustain the activities they once enjoyed. Another contributing factor is metabolic slowdown. The body is designed to produce and use energy, but as it prepares for its final stage, energy is redirected. Instead of fueling movement, the body focuses on preservation. This is why someone in decline may start sleeping more, needing longer naps during the day, and struggling to stay awake for long periods. Some may even experience sudden drops in energy, feeling fine one moment, but completely drained the next. But perhaps the most heartbreaking aspect of this process is the emotional impact of fatigue. Many seniors who once took pride in their independence begin to feel frustrated or even embarrassed by their inability to do what they once could. They may withdraw from conversations, avoid social interactions, or stop engaging in hobbies, not because they don't care, but because they simply don't have the energy. This leads to a cycle of isolation where they stop trying altogether, which only speeds up their decline. For families, watching a loved one go from active and engaged to exhausted and withdrawn can be painful. It's easy to assume they're just being lazy or need to push through, but forcing activity won't help. What's important is understanding their limits, allowing rest when needed, and making their remaining days as comfortable as possible. If you notice a loved one struggling with deep, ongoing fatigue that rest doesn't relieve, take it as a sign that their body is undergoing a major transition. This is the time to cherish conversations, create peaceful moments, and offer support without expectations. In the end, what matters most isn't how much they can do, but that they feel loved, understood, and at ease. If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend subscribing and turning on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us keep creating valuable content to inform and inspire. Now, let's move on. Number 3, increased cognitive confusion or withdrawal. As a person nears the final stage of life, one of the most noticeable changes is how they think, communicate, and engage with others. You might notice someone who was once sharp and alert starting to forget things. They may struggle more often to follow conversations or seem confused in familiar places. They might repeat themselves, forget names, or lose track of time, even if they never had memory issues before. These subtle cognitive shifts can happen months or even a full year before death. This isn't simple forgetfulness. Like any other organ, the brain requires a steady flow of oxygen and nutrients to function, but as circulation weakens and the brain's oxygen supply diminishes, cognitive abilities begin to decline. The person might become easily confused, find decision-making difficult, or struggle to recognize people in places they've known for years. In some cases, they may have brief moments of clarity, followed by sudden episodes of confusion, almost as if their mind is fading in and out. Another sign is emotional withdrawal. As someone nears the end of life, they often lose interest in social interactions. You might notice them speaking less, engaging less, or spending long periods just sitting in silence. It's not that they don't care, it's that their brain no longer processes emotions and engagement the same way. Conversations become tiring, loud environments feel overwhelming, and eventually, many seniors retreat into their own world. You may also see changes in their mood and behavior. Some become more irritable, anxious, or easily frustrated, while others may appear unusually calm, detached, or indifferent to things that once mattered. This isn't just a personality change, it's often a result of the brain adjusting to the body's decline. As cognitive function slows, emotions become harder to express, and the person may stop reacting the way they once did. For family members, this stage can be especially difficult. Watching a loved one lose touch with reality or withdraw emotionally can feel like losing them before they're actually gone. But it's important to remember that this isn't something they can control. Instead of trying to pull them back into conversation, the best thing you can do is meet them where they are. Speak gently, offer reassurance, and understand that even if they don't always respond, they can still feel your presence. If a loved one is becoming more forgetful, confused, or disengaged, don't ignore it. These are often early signs that the body and mind are preparing for the final transition. This is a time for patience, cherishing quiet moments, and focusing on creating an environment that feels safe, familiar, and peaceful. Even when words fade, love and comfort can still be felt. Let's continue. Number 4, frequent infections and slow healing. As the body begins to wind down, one of the clearest physical signs is a weakened immune system. You may notice that someone who rarely got sick before now seems to catch every cold, flu, or minor infection that goes around. What used to be small illnesses now take much longer to recover from, and even simple wounds, like a small cut or bruise, heal at a noticeably slower rate. These changes aren't random. They're signs that the body can no longer defend or repair itself the way it once did. One of the biggest concerns is repeated infections. Pneumonia, urinary tract infections, UTIs, skin infections, and even oral infections become more common as the immune system weakens. Many families assume these are just isolated incidents, but when they happen frequently or take longer to clear up, it's often a sign that the body is losing its ability to fight back. Even antibiotics, which once worked quickly, may seem less effective. The person might need stronger medications, longer recovery times, or multiple rounds of treatment for infections that would have been minor before. This occurs because as circulation slows and organ function declines, the body simply doesn't respond to treatment as efficiently. Another overlooked issue is chronic wounds. If you notice that small scratches, sores, or bruises aren't healing properly or are constantly reopening, it could indicate compromised circulation. Poor blood flow means that oxygen and nutrients aren't reaching the skin and tissues effectively, slowing healing. Pressure sores, especially for those who are less mobile, can become a serious risk and lead to dangerous infections if not properly managed. What's even more concerning is that infections in the final year of life often don't look the way we expect. Instead of a high fever, an elderly person might just seem more tired, confused, or less interested in eating. For seniors, a sudden drop in mental alertness is often the first sign of an infection, even before other symptoms show up. That's why recognizing these changes early can make a big difference in the comfort and support they receive during their final stage of life. For families, watching a loved one go through repeated infections can be heartbreaking. It's tempting to push for aggressive treatments, hoping that one more round of antibiotics or another hospital stay will fix things, but at a certain point, the focus shifts from curing to comforting. Ensuring they stay hydrated, Keeping their skin clean and moisturized and minimizing stress on the body can often do more for their well-being than more medication that only prolongs suffering. If you're still watching, and if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend subscribing and turning on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating valuable content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move on. Number 5, major changes in breathing or circulation. One of the most significant signs that the body is preparing for its final stage is a noticeable shift in breathing patterns and circulation. You might observe that your loved one is breathing more slowly or shallowly than before. At times, they might pause between breaths, or their breathing may become irregular, speeding up and slowing down unexpectedly. Some people experience a rhythmic breathing pattern called Cheney-Stokes respiration, where breathing alternates between deep, rapid breaths and long pauses. These changes may start subtly, but grow more pronounced and frequent over time. Another sign is weak circulation. You might notice that their hands, feet, or even their nose and ears feel cold to the touch. The skin may appear pale, bluish, or mottled, particularly around the fingers and toes. This occurs because the body is prioritizing blood flow to vital organs, reducing circulation to the extremities. It's a clear sign that the heart isn't pumping as strongly as it once did. Some individuals also experience more shortness of breath, even with minimal activity. Simply sitting up, speaking, or shifting positions might cause them to feel winded or out of breath. You might see them breathing through their mouth more often, or they may suddenly need to stop and catch their breath while talking. If they were once able to walk across the room easily but now struggle, their lung function may be declining. In some cases, fluid buildup in the lungs makes breathing harder, causing a persistent cough, gurgling sounds, or a feeling of tightness in the chest. Many might think it's just congestion from a cold, but in elderly individuals nearing the end of life, it's often a sign that the lungs are weakening. This makes lying flat uncomfortable, and they may prefer to sleep propped up on pillows or in a recliner to ease breathing. For families, witnessing these changes can be frightening. It's natural to want to help, encourage them to take deeper breaths, or worry that something urgent is happening. But in many cases, this is simply the body's natural way of slowing down. There may not always be a way to reverse these changes, but there are ways to make them more comfortable. Keeping the room cool, using a humidifier, or offering small sips of water can ease discomfort. In some cases, medications or oxygen therapy can provide relief, but the focus shifts toward comfort rather than trying to fix the issue. If you notice signs like changes in breathing, cold hands and feet, or a bluish tint to the skin, pay attention. These are often indicators that the body is conserving energy and circulation is slowing down. It's a time to be present, offer reassurance, and create a peaceful environment where they feel safe and at ease. In these final months or weeks, the most important thing you can offer isn't medical intervention, but comfort, dignity, and the knowledge that they are not alone. Final thoughts. As we near the end of this video, take a moment to reflect on what we've discussed. Significant weight loss, extreme fatigue, cognitive decline, frequent infections, and major changes in breathing and circulation. These 5 signs often appear in the year leading up to an elderly person's passing. They may not all happen at once, and they may not always be obvious at first, but when you start noticing them, it's a sign that the body is preparing for its final transition. For many families, these changes can be hard to accept. It's natural to want to fight against them, to encourage a loved one to eat more, move more, or push through exhaustion. However, sometimes the best thing we can do is listen to what their body is telling us. Instead of focusing on reversing the inevitable, we can focus on making their remaining time as peaceful, comfortable, and meaningful as possible. Understanding these signs isn't about fearing death, it's about being prepared for it. When you recognize these changes early, you can provide better care, make crucial decisions ahead of time, and ensure that your loved one's final months are filled with love and dignity. This is a time for cherishing moments, sharing stories, and letting them know they are valued and not alone. If you notice these signs in someone close to you, take a deep breath and remember, you are not alone in this journey. Many families have walked this path before, and while it is never easy, knowing what to expect can help you find strength, patience, and peace. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.